the power of the union. A police officer cannot be charged. He can be charged with second-degree murder, can't be charged with murder on duty necessarily. But all he has to say is that he was in fear of his safety, and that's why he shot and killed him, which is the story. That's always the myth. They're afraid. And stay home with your mind. Look, but it was the lobbyists and the union. The lobbyists and the union, the lobbyists make big money to get the state legislature to change the law to provide an affirmative defense for the police officer. As errant as he may have been in unjustifiably killing you, they wrote in, if he was in fear of his life, it is an affirmative defense. Everything is politics. So the power of the union, in conjunction with the lobbyists and the working in that network up in Albany, got the law changed so that a cop is not going to get convicted of second-degree manslaughter if he can articulate that he was in fear of his life. Have a nice day.
If I could just address that city.
Yeah, my name is Graham Weatherspoon. I'm a retired NYPD detective, third grade. I worked with the transit police and NYPD. I was a detective for both departments prior to the merge. I think the federal government needs to step in here and make a prime example of NYPD with regard to what is going on, the violations of people's civil and constitutional rights, the egregious violations of law. There was a police department in Westchester County. I think about 20 people filed complaints with the feds, and they went in and they arrested everybody in that small police department. We have people being shot to death summarily here, searched illegally, federal laws being violated with illegal search and seizure, which the Constitution says we are not to be subject to illegal search and seizure, but the U.S. Justice Department has failed to take a step towards the infractions that are being committed by NYPD. The fish stinketh from the head. It comes from the top, it comes from the mayor, it comes from the police commissioner, and then it trickles down. When police officers find that they are being sued in federal court, they may have a different approach to policing. Another thing, it is the quality of the individual that they're hiring. This is not a job you take because you need a check. It's not a job that you take because you want to exert power over somebody, which is unfortunately the case. But I'm well aware that 2012 is very different from 1974 when I entered the department. We have a great degree of insensitivity, not only in New York, but across the country and the world, as a result of the things that have transpired over the last few years. The idea that you want to kill somebody because you're scared, or you feel that it's a mark of valor to have shot somebody. I worked 20 years, and there were many people I could have shot, not suspect, who were actually armed. In one case, a gun was wrestled out of my holster, and the guy got the gun, all right? People have tried to draw on me, all kinds of bank robberies, all kinds of scenarios. I never discharged my weapon. Never. I didn't assume they had a weapon. They had the weapon. And I effected the arrest without discharging. I had a good friend who killed a guy by City Hall many years ago. The guy ripped his weapon out of his holster, and they fought over the gun. And this guy could bench press 300 pounds. I can't bench press 300 pounds, but the guy almost overpowered him. But in the struggle, the gun went off. And as they stood there, breathing into each other's face, he was wondering where the bullet went. Well, the guy slowly let go of him, fell back on the subway platform, and died. Al and I were sitting in the locker room shortly after that shooting. And he said to me, this was a white guy. Not a black guy, it was a white guy. He said to me, Spoon, I never took this job to take another man's life, even to save my own. I didn't come here to kill people. He says, I cannot do this again. He closed his locker, he walked out, and he never came back. that was his last day. He had a respect for human life. Even at the risk of his own, he had that respect for human life. This is one thing we don't have anymore in NYPD amongst a good number, not all, but amongst a good number of the officers. And another key issue is fear. A lot of them are afraid. They do not belong in this profession. This is a very critical position. We're not selling hamburgers, we're not making French fries, we're dealing with people's lives. And if you're afraid, there's nothing more dangerous than a person who is afraid holding a gun.